This is Boxing Talk 8576. I haven't dropped a video in a while. But I want to talk about something I kind of touched on before, but I want to talk about it again. Man, this is Joe Calzaghe has to be between 1 and 2 for the best fighter of this era. And I got Klitschko maybe number 1. I got Klitschko number 1. Joe Calzaghe, man, he got one of the quietest careers, man. I mean, the guy went undefeated, 46-0. I just pulled up BoxRec because I want to get my facts right, because you know you gotta have your facts for you guys, because you guys are try to come at somebody if they ain't got their facts right. But I'm just gonna make an argument about this man possibly being the fighter of this generation south of the heavyweight division. Let's go down his Joe Calzaghe accomplishments. He beat guys like Mikhail Kessler, who at the time was undefeated, a hard puncher. He dominated that fight. I remember looking at that fight between him and Mikhail Kessler. He dominated that fight. After the second round, he just started dominating the fight. To me, it seemed like he just outclassed Mikhail Kessler after that. And Mikhail Kessler himself went on to win another title. So that was a great win. He beat a fighter that obviously was a pretty good fighter. The fighter went on to win a title after that. He beat Sakio Bika, and everybody Sakio Bika gave everybody a tough fight. You know, he gave Andre Ward a tough fight. You know, he just got done beating one of the Durrell brothers, and the Durrell brother. It was a draw, but he gave one of the Durrell brothers a tough fight. Back-to-back fights. And then Sakio Bika went on to win the super middleweight championship. After that, after he lost to Joe Calzaghe, so that was another great win. Because another thing about your legacy is the guys who you beat, what they do after you beat them, and if they did great things, that enhance your legacy. So Mikhail Kessler and Sakio Bika enhance his legacy. Mikhail Kessler actually beat Carl Froch too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he beat Carl Froch, and Carl Froch came back and beat him. So that was a good win, because Carl Froch beat Jermaine Taylor, and Carl Froch was the super middleweight champion. So that's another great linchpin of a win for Joe Calzaghe. Jeff Lacy. Jeff Lacy was undefeated. Jeff Lacy was, I think Jeff Lacy, in my opinion, was a little bit overhyped. Maybe not a little bit. I think he was overhyped. But Jeff Lacy at that time was undefeated, running through guys. Jeff Lacy is about the only one that didn't really do anything after that. I think Joe Calzaghe really exposed him and took the fight out of Jeff Lacy. He kind of destroyed Jeff Lacy's career, because Jeff Lacy was really not the same after that. I just seen Jeff Lacy fight, and he got destroyed by some young fighter. Jeff Lacy should hang it up. But he fought guys like Roy Jones. Roy Jones is arguably one of the best fighters of the last 50 years. Roy Jones won the middleweight championship, the super middleweight championship, the light heavyweight championship, and the heavyweight championship. So that's another great person on Joe Calzaghe's record, the great Roy Jones. And Roy Jones went on to win some minor titles after Joe Calzaghe beat him. So that's another great fight. And he beat Roy Jones on American soil. He came here and beat Roy Jones. Joe Calzaghe, he's from the UK. He came here and beat Roy Jones on American soil. Then, before that, he had beat Bernard Hopkins. We all know Bernard Hopkins got the middleweight, the most defenses for the middleweight title. He even won the light heavyweight championship. And the oldest fighter to win the championship. So Bernard Hopkins, and that was And Bernard Hopkins beat an undefeated Kelly Pavlik after he lost to Joe Calzaghe. He beat an undefeated Shumanov after he lost to Joe Calzaghe. He went 12 rounds, the first guy to go 12 rounds with Kovalev after he lost to Joe Calzaghe. So that's another great win. And Bernard Hopkins is arguably one of the best fighters of the last 50 years. And he beat Bernard Hopkins on American soil. So that's another great win. He beat several undefeated fighters. Joe Calzaghe himself was the best super middleweight, period, ever. He's the best. He got the most title defenses. He dominated the super middleweight division like no one else has before or after him. So, man, I don't know what you guys' opinions are, but Joe Calzaghe, man, that dude has to. You know what? I'm gonna put him over Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather as the best fighter south of the heavyweight division. Because this guy dominated, and his wins over Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones those two wins are better than any two wins that Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather got on their records. If you want to take their best two wins, those two wins, in my opinion, are better than any two wins that those guys, the Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather, has on their record. Period. So, and I never really, heard about Joe Calzaghe ducking many people. I mean, and he beat Chris Eubanks, which was a changing of the guards. He beat Chris Eubanks, who came before him, and Chris Eubanks was not a pushover. He actually got dropped in that fight, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got dropped by Chris Eubanks and got up and dominated the rest of that fight. Really kind of, took it to Chris Eubanks. But Chris Eubanks was a great super middleweight champion in the days, in the same time with when Roy Jones was ruling the roost, and Roy Jones and him didn't fight. But that's another one. I forgot about Chris Eubanks. That's another linchpin. This man has to be the second best fighter of this generation, and the best fighter south of the heavyweight division. I mean, you can argue Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather being the best fighter of this generation south of the heavyweight division, but I got a great argument for Joe Calzaghe being the greatest fighter of this generation south of the heavyweight division. And leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. But Joe Calzaghe, man, and I want to put this last thing in there. He got a higher knockout ratio than Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones. So he can punch too. Joe Calzaghe, he was a pretty good all-around fighter. He could move. He wasn't a typical UK fighter. He wasn't stiff, up and down, robotic. He could move. He had fast hands. He had pretty good defense. He could move his head. I never really seen him get hit by a lot of big shots. So, hey, not Mikhail Kessler, but Joe Calzaghe, in my book, looking at this stuff, man, this man is the best fighter of this generation south of the heavyweight division. This is Boxing Talk 8576. I'm out.